ranch. Yes, Randy.
Ammon, would you mind just taking 5 minutes and reviewing that story? There could be a few people here that don't know it very well, some of our visitors.
Okay, absolutely.
Just 5 or 10 minutes.
So, absolutely. So, I might not be able to do it in 5-10 minutes, but I'll do my best. So I give you a little bit of setting, basically what happened. And March 27th, they came in and they set up a military base, basically. I know it wasn't a military base. I understand that they don't have authority to organize a military, but they did. Mercenaries, anyway, and they organized them, and they came into the ranch and they developed this base, and it was just like a military base. It had communication towers, perimeters, sniper points, barriers, all of that. And around 200 agents came in. Well, there was actually from what we can gather, about 50% of them were agents from 5 different agencies. Yeah, there's BLM, FBI, Park Service, U.S. Park Service, U.S. Forest Service, and they came in, and then around the other 50% were actually hired mercenaries. They were actually hired killers, and there was a good amount of them were snipers. They were trained, and I heard terms like pound flesh. I didn't know what that meant. That they came to pound flesh. Well, anybody who knows that, it's a horrible, horrible thing, but that's what they came to do. And they reached out to they had a liaison that reached out to our family. And his job was basically to tell us, and this is in his own words, that if we resist, this will be another Waco or Ruby Ridge. That was their words exactly. They came to kill us. And they came strong and heavy. And they basically, make a long story short, they surrounded the ranch. They locked up all the access points to the ranch. And they had men completely surrounding. They had surveillance equipment. And then they began to gather the cattle and destroy the water rights on the mountain. And I told you, I just explained why they wanted to destroy the water rights. Right? That was the link to my dad's right to be on that. And they knew that, so they wanted to destroy those rights and remove all the water, remove all that infrastructure that's been up there over 100 years, and remove the cattle, and then basically eliminate his usage, his beneficial use on that. And they did a pretty good job of it for several days. They on Sunday. They beat my brother literally to the ground, about 10 of them. Meanwhile, they had M16s and assault rifles, had our wives and our children, heads, while they're beating my brother to the ground. I wasn't there, actually. And then, yeah.
A question, when you say they, what agency coordinated all that, and under what authority were they claiming they had the rights to act on?
Okay. Primarily the Bureau of Land Management, BLM. They were the leading agency there. And what authority they were basing it on is basically federal code that they had to file in the Federal Registry without legislation. You might understand that, right? They just basically file whatever they want in the Federal Registry with it, and then it sits there for 90 days and becomes federal law without legislation or the proper way that laws are supposed to be made. And so they made these laws. They've been making them for a long, long time, but one of the laws that they kept quoting was that we didn't have our First Amendment rights to protest on federal land. That's what they said. And we continued to protest, and that's why my brother got beat to the ground. He had an iPad and he was filming them. They called it protest, so they gang beat him to the ground by their authority, and they even would continue to keep saying this. They had the code memorized. the federal code, and they would read it, say it. They'd say it to us while they were beating us down, throwing us on the ground, while they were throwing, body slamming women to the ground and sicking their dogs on us, while they were tasing us. That's what was going on. They were saying the federal code does not allow you to express your First Amendment rights here. So therefore, we have the right to abuse you. And they did. They abused us. I think I would be ungrateful to not express to you, though, the Lord's hand in all of this. Okay? If I could express to you anything here tonight, that is that God lives and that He is willing to protect the people who will stand for what's right.
Amen. Yes, He will.
He will sustain us. And I don't say that out of just to say it. It was very real. There was times that the Lord's Spirit was so strong during that week that it would take our breath away. He was there, my friends. And He was very curious of what the American people were going to do with their freedoms. And He gave us opportunity, and He protected us many, many times. I could give you an incident that personally, where when I was tased 3 times, the video says 4, but I know of 3 for sure, I didn't go to the ground. Why? Even though my upper body was in complete convulsions, and I was shaking, and my brain wasn't even working right, but I felt a strength grab like my lower legs, and I could still feel to this day I still can remember to this day how the soles of my boots felt against the asphalt and how solid I was against the ground. And I know that I was sustained that day. I could also tell you about a dream that my brother had on Tuesday. And that dream laid out exactly what was going to happen on Saturday. And during that dream, he understood where everybody was supposed to be. And that's how it happened. We understood what was happening. I could also tell you that these federal agencies, they thought that there was a mole among them. Because we understood what they were going to do and how they were going to act before they did it. Because the Lord and His Spirit was telling us.